So what is a neutral spine? Well, let me show you here, just like the S curvature of a natural curved back. You see the lordotic curvature here, which is coming in, and it's a little bit hyperlordotic. Make it a little bit more exaggerated there. That is going to be a neutral position. It's not going to be a flat back like most people think. It's actually going to be into a natural spine curvature there. So showing it on Cody here, go ahead and turn facing the wall, Cody, and stand up nice and tall. You're going to see his back naturally curves in. It's going to hyperextend in. Now we're not going to overarch, so go ahead and bring that low back in a little tighter. He's drawing his shoulder blades down, and you see that overarching. That is not a neutral spine. It is going to protect the spine a lot more than a flexion, obviously, but it's not going to be neutral. So there's neutral, and then Cody, I want you to round forward and round your back, flex your spine, and this is one of the most dangerous positions to put your spine into. Going back to anatomy here, and go ahead and do a couple deadlifts here, Cody. Spread the feet out a little bit, do some kettlebell deadlifts, do with good form first, keeping that back straight, and I'll get into the butt winking as well and the anterior pelvic tilt, and then go ahead and come down with an arched back in a flexion of the spine. That is what you don't want. You want that neutral spine, which is in tight. So the reason that it is so bad on the spine when you put it in that flex position, because you have the disc that we talked about earlier in the notes that I gave you to study, but the disc, intervertebral disc here with the annulus fibrosus around the nucleus. You're going to have the nucleus more on the posterior side of the disc, especially in the lumbar section, and most of the herniations are going to happen on the lateral posterior side because the nucleus is further to that side of the disc. It is also only going to have longitudinal fibers. It's not going to have the cross-sectional linkage fibers that is on the front side of the disc. So very rarely will you ever see a herniation on the front anterior side. And the problem as well is when you see the disc bulging, let's see the disc bulge here, it's going to be pressing in on that nerve coming out of the foramen. So that is going to be the biggest issue of why you don't want to see that flexion of the spine. And when you do that, you also take pressure off the muscles that are engaged. So go ahead and go back into the flexion here, Cody. Go forward. So in this position, you see the spine is flexed dramatically, and he's stretching the muscles here. All those paraspinals are going to be stretched, and they're going to be disengaged to where more pressure is on the anatomy, the structure of the spine, than it is on the musculature. So that's going to be a really hard position for the back. Go ahead and back into neutral again. I like to stand up tall, come into a neutral position, and then hinge at the hips, keeping that neutral position the whole time. So go again. There you go. Keep it tight. Stop right there. You can see his muscles are engaged now. So his back is flat, his muscles are tight, and they're keeping the spine from moving to where you're not going to have any kind of slippage, spondylolisthesis or retrolithesis, anything like that. And it's going to make sure that the wedge shape, I'm going to stand up again, Cody. The natural wedge you can see here is going to be a wedge getting smaller on the backside of the posterior side of the disc. When you flex, it's going to create a wedge in the opposite direction. So it's going to cause that disc to protrude out. You also have on the lateral sides, you don't have hardly any of the annulus fibrosus. And a lot of people don't realize that. They think the ring goes all the way around on the lumbar disc. It does not. It's actually called uncovertebral joints. And so it's not an actual annulus fibrosis, which is where most people herniate. It pushes out and it's going to press on that nerve, again, coming out of the foramen.